Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Image and Likeness, and I'll be doing another one on the Eucharist, which is Berengar, who's the opposition of the Catholic position in the second Eucharistic controversy, which is like in the 11th century. So I don't even have that guy's works because they're like not translated and I can't even find them. So my sources are secondary. Unlike every single other video I do is primary source, but here it has to be secondary. Berengar and the Reform of the Sacramental System, and also Philip Schaff has a little discourse, which is this, boom. The ideas of Berengar. The elements, so this is what Berengar thinks. The elements remain in substance as well as in appearance after the consecration, although they acquire a new significance. Hence the predicate in the words of institution, is, "This is my body," must be taken figuratively. As in many other passages where Christ is called the Lion, the Lamb, the Door, etc., the discourse in the 6th chapter of John is likewise figurative and does not refer to the sacrament at all, but to the believing reception of Christ's death. So this is interesting. He thinks the words of institution are figurative, and he thinks John 6 is figurative and not even referring to the sacrament. Interesting idea by Berengar. His second idea is, nevertheless, bread and wine are not empty symbols, but in some sense the body and blood of Christ which they represent. They are converted by being consecrated, for whatever is consecrated is lifted to a higher sphere and transformed. They do not lose their substance after consecration, but they lose their emptiness and become efficacious to the believer. So water in baptism remains water, but becomes the vehicle of regeneration. Wherever the sacramentum is, there also is the res sacramenti. So he thinks that the bread and wine are empty, but after consecration, the reason they're holy is because they're not empty, because they figuratively represent Christ's body, or actually represent Christ's body. The same way water in baptism, and sacramentum is like the elements of the Eucharist, and res sacramenti is what the reality of the sacrament, what it represents. So he thinks the sacraments are bread and wine, the res sacramenti is Christ's body. Idea number 3. Christ is spiritually present and is spiritually received by faith. Without faith, we can have no real communion with him, nor share in his benefits. The true body of Christ, he says in a letter to Adelman, is placed on the altar, but spiritually to the inner man and to those only who are members of Christ, for spiritual manducation. Goodness me. This the fathers teach openly, and distinguish between the body of Christ, body and blood of Christ, and the sacramental signs of the body and blood. The pious receive both the sacramental sign visibly and the sacramental substance invisibly, while the ungodly only receive the sacramental sign to their own judgment. So he thinks it's placed on the altar, but it's only for the spiritual people, because he thinks that the only way we can partake of the body is if we have faith, and those faithful can't partake of the body or the benefits. So the pious receive the sacramental sign, which is the Eucharist, and the sacramental substance, which is the body. But the ungodly only receive the sign. They only receive bread. They don't receive the rem or res sacramenti, which is the sacramental substance, the true sacrament, what it's signifying. And he's saying the fathers teach this openly, which, interesting. Idea 4. The communion in the Lord's Supper is a communion with the whole undivided person of Christ, and not with flesh and blood as separate elements. As the whole body of Christ was sacrificed in death, so we receive the whole body in a spiritual manner, and as Christ's body is now glorified in heaven, we must spiritually ascend to heaven. Yeah, so this is literally distinctly a reformed idea of the critique is, instead of bringing Christ down into the Eucharist, we are spiritually ascended up to heaven in the Eucharist. And you can see it stemming from Berengar. But yeah, next. This is directly from his thing. This is quoted in the secondary source, but I guess it's primary. The fact that a body is sensually present in different places at the same moment will prove that it is not a body. So once again, he's using his senses to disprove that the body can be in multiple places at the exact same time, again, which is purely a reformed critique. of transubstantiation of the Lutheran position. It says a body can't be in more than two places at once because it's sensually impossible. And then this is also a secondary thing. If visible form and retain the color of bread and wine, Berengar replies that the qualities of color, flavor, and smell cannot be separated from their substance. If the original elements of their substance disappear, the qualities which their senses apprehend cannot remain. It is as absurd to maintain that the substance of bread can be changed into the substance of the body of Christ and yet retain the color of bread, as it would be alleged, on the contrary, that by changing the color of a man's face into that of an Ethiopian's, the substance of his face could be changed. So, yeah, this is his metaphysical critique of how the substance and accidents of something cannot be separated. And he, it's not really an objection because he's just saying they can't be separated. And the common, like, transubstantiation answer would just be, yeah, bro, like, God can do anything. I don't know. Like, yeah. And that's basically it. You can see it's a very reformed view of the Eucharist. How the ungodly do not actually receive the body of Christ, which is explicitly denied by Augustine. Augustine says Judas received the body of Christ in the same way that the faithful received the body of Christ. Here he's talking about the efficacy, it's consecrated, so he's holding a bit of a higher view than, let's say, Zwingli. And yeah, so those are Berengar's ideas. I'm going to make a couple videos on guys that refute these ideas and I guess like argue against them. But it's unfortunate I don't have Berengar's actual work where I can, you know, go and see exactly how he argues. But hey man, this is all I have for now. I'm gonna definitely do some reformed guys on the Eucharist and how they argue against it. But this is Berengar on the Eucharistic controversy and how he thinks it's figurative, but not merely figurative, because it's the means by which we partake of the res sacramenti, which is signified by the sacramentum, which is the elements of the sacrament. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. This is a short video, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and God bless.